Hola. Now we're going to talk about verbs a little bit because I didn't get to cover verbs very much. The very end, in the end of chapter 3, there's just a slew of verbs, and I didn't get to cover them very much. So first I want to direct your attention to 140. This is a good review for those who have not taken Spanish in a while. 140, 140, la página 140, 140. These are regular present tense verbs talking about habitual actions, present tense of regular verbs. And you already know the endings of the Spanish verbs should correspond to the subject of the sentence. So, for example, if you say, hey, Nora, when do you study? Nora, ¿cuándo estudias? It's talking to the you. You need to know those subject pronouns. Yo, tú, usted, él, ella, nosotros, nosotras, ustedes, ellos, and ellas. I don't know if you are a student, you might have access to the ITV videos from my Spanish 1 class. I think maybe everyone has access to them and anyone can look at them. We talk about verbs, but it might be hard to find. But you could actually watch my whole Spanish 1 to catch up to where we are now if you wanted to. That would take some time. It wouldn't take that much time. It was only 16 days, and 2 of those days were a test. So there'd be 14 days. Some of it I'm just jibber-jabbering. You might want to try that. Anyway, on this page, this lays out AR verbs in the regular present tense, ER verbs, and IR verbs. You can just look at this and study it. But I would like for you to do exercise 1 at the bottom, page 141, and let's look at this. You're trying to find, here are subjects on the list A, lista A, at the very bottom of 141 is what I'm talking about. And then, there are verbs, and you have to match the correct subject with the correct verb endings. For example, the first one, La Profesora Martinez. Well, she's a she. She's one person. She's a C. You would use, she's a she, not a C. And so it would be third person singular. And if you find on list B, hers would be maneja un carro nuevo. That's the only one that you could use for her. B, because the ending for an AR verb, you take off that AR and you just add an A. And maneja means drive. She drives a new car. So that's number 1 would correspond with B. I want you to do the rest there and find what they correspond with. Then on the next page, 142, exercise 2, you just need to find the correct verb. Not the verb. The verbs are at the end in parentheses. But what you need to do is find the correct endings of that verb. You're going to take off that ER or AR or IR and add the correct endings. For example, number 1 says Graciela y yo. We're on top of 142. Graciela y yo blank las composiciones juntas. Well, that's we. Graciela y yo, Graciela and I equals we. We. And the word is escribir, so it's going to be escribimos. 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 So I want you to do that exercise. Now what it's showing is irregular verbs. They have different endings. They're irregular. They don't follow a pattern like we've learned with the regular AR, ER, and IR verbs. So here they are. There's at the bottom of 142, then 143, you have different verbs. Hacer, salir, jugar. And you can just look at those endings. And I want you to do ejercicio 3, exercise 3 on 144. The first part says, well, they show you a model. Hey, Luis, when do you do your homework? I do homework in the afternoon. Hago las tareas por la tarde. And then number 1, Señor Saucedo, ¿a qué hora blank usted de casa para su trabajo? Señor Saucedo, ¿a qué hora blank usted de casa salir? Wait, I'm sorry about that. Señor Saucedo, ¿a qué hora blank usted a casa de casa para su trabajo? Every time I look down, there's a big glimmery light right across the sentence. That's why I can't read it. But if you look at the top, you're only choosing from 3 verbs. Hacer, salir, and jugar. Hacer is to do or to make. Salir is to leave or go out. Jugar is to play. So probably, if it's talking about from your house, it probably means what time do you leave. It's not what time do you play from your house, what time do you do from your house. Leave is going to be the right verb, which is salir. And it's asking Mr. Salcedo. We're using the last name, so we're going to use the usted form. You can go back and look for the usted form, and it's going to be sale. Señor Salcedo, ¿a qué hora sale usted de casa para su trabajo? Then he's going to answer, I leave at 8:30. Salgo, because it's irregular and weird, salgo a las 8:30. So exercise 3. Don't worry about this direct object pronouns. I don't care about that. But now we're going to move over very quickly over to Chapter 4, the verbs in Chapter 4, starting with page 170. And here are all sorts of other verbs, all sorts of other verbs. These all are kind of in a line. These are stem-changing verbs. They don't even tell you what they mean. Oh, yeah, they do at the top. Cerrar, this is 170, 170, 170. Cerrar is to close. Pensar is to think. Empezar is to begin or start. Perder is to lose, and encender is to light something or to turn something on. They use another verb there too. Down at the bottom they have other stem-changing verbs. Jugar, dormir, volver, almorzar. Jugar is to play, you know that. Dormir is to sleep. Volver is to return or to go back, return. And almorzar is to have lunch, to eat lunch. Okay? I don't think we'll do the exercise on there. I just want you to be aware of these. Then there are irregular verbs on page 171. Tener, we've used that a million times. And remember, you can cross out the vosotros forms. Vosotros, we're not learning. Yes, we're learning nosotros, but not vosotros. Okay, because that's only in Spain and nobody uses it. Tener is to have. Venir is a new one, to come. Like I come from Oklahoma. Vengo de Oklahoma. Salir is to leave or go out. And poner is to put. This is at the bottom of 171. Next page, we just have verbs. Next page, at the top of 172, more verbs, irregular verbs in the present tense. There's traer, means to bring. Oír is to hear. Hacer, once again, they're doing hacer, to do or to make. Decir is to say or to tell. And remember when I used to say digan, that's a command form of decir because it's irregular. It starts out with digo, I say or I tell, and it goes on there. Dices, dice, decimos, dicen. I did not do the vosotros form. You cross that out. So I don't think we'll do any of these exercises here yet. We might come back to them. But we were doing reflexive verbs, remember, for reflexive verbs. Excuse me. And on 173, at the bottom, it talks about reflexive verbs. I want you, we're in the middle of the section, 4.3, page 173. I do want you to thoroughly read through this. We already went over 174. And for this part, you're going to do exercises 3. I might be able to go over that right now. Exercise 3. I'm not going to. I'm going to make another video because I'm afraid. I'm afraid it's going to be too long. So, but read through that. And this is the section over los verbos. Adios.